Winter has most definitely arrived here in the UK, with parts of Scotland getting to -14 overnight. Here in London though, it's not that cold.
How do you describe how cold London is right now?
Warm.
What? Do it again.
Yeah?
How cold is it?
Really warm.
Alright, I wouldn't describe it as warm, but it's been getting to like -3, 4, and maybe 5 overnight. So it's cold, okay? I mean, this is what my bike looked like this morning when I left for work. Completely frozen to the point that my actual shifter on my roll-off hub was completely, I think it was the actual gear cables themselves, completely iced up, so I couldn't shift, so I had to pour hot water all over it to kind of get it going again so I could actually go to work. It's that kind of cold. So today's video is all about winter in the UK in particular, but winter riding in general. This might help you no matter where you live, unless it's Alaska. Maybe you could probably teach us some things about maybe not whinging about how cold it is. So there's 2 sections to this video. The first one is going to be gearing up, so everything you're going to wear for your body to keep you dry and warm, and then the second one is going to be preparing your bike. Let's get to it. Now I'm not going to just stand here and tell you, well, if it's cold, wear more layers, because that's obvious. It's not like you're going to go out ride your bike in shorts. That would be mental. But I do have a couple of tips and a couple of things that I do to make myself comfortable, warm, and then dry whilst I'm riding. Now, starting with warmth, there's a couple of things I do to kind of like make myself comfortable. Bear in mind that like I am a courier, is one of the things I do as a day job these days. So I spend the whole day out on my bike. So it might be slightly different to someone who say is just commuting for an hour and then going inside, or someone who's going adventure riding and then is going to camp out afterwards as well. So this is kind of what I'm doing and what I kind of do, and then you can kind of like it'll help you piece together what you want to do, essentially. Now, some of you probably know this already, but I wear shorts all year round. That's probably got something to do with the fact that I grew up in Somerset near the seaside or something, perhaps. I don't really know, but what I do know for a fact is it's the most comfortable thing to have on your legs. But I'm not going to stand here and say that it isn't cold sometimes, especially if you're cycling and you're out in the outdoors all day long. So one of the things that I do is I wear essentially, this is where I'm probably going to actually like divide the room massively. My favourite thing to ride in, denim shorts, and I've cut these myself, so they're the perfect primo length. Whatever, but that's what I wear all the time. Is what I like riding in. So when it does get cold, I still want to ride in my jeans. That's how I like riding. But my knees and my legs do get a little bit chilly from the cold air, especially if I'm going to be out all day. So what I do is I chuck a pair of these underneath. These are cycling tights, essentially. They've got these bits that are nice and reflective, so they add a little bit of extra reflection during the night, but apart from that, they are just sports leggings, tights things. I put those underneath, and then essentially I've got longs on, but it feels like I've just got shorts on, and it's nice and comfortable still and keeps me reasonably warm. If the temperatures dropped considerably, well, I don't get that cold if I'm really honest, and it's London. London doesn't get that cold, so I just pedal harder. That's the bottom half done. For the top half, I generally wear t-shirts, stuff like that. I don't have a lot of fancy wool or thermal t-shirts and stuff like that. If you can afford that, they are the best things to go for. But for me, I just wear a normal t-shirt, sometimes long sleeves if it's really cold, sometimes short sleeves because it's whatever the rest of the time. And then I layer one of these, which is a body warmer or a gilet. This one actually does have a thermal layer as well. So this is my main warmth layer. And then depending on what I'm doing from there, I either leave it like this with some longs on or something, or because it's particularly cold at the moment, I've actually been riding in a puffer jacket. This one is it's like a thermal heated one as well, so it's like lets some air in but also keeps you quite warm, so it's actually quite good for cycling. This is It's made by Trespass. A lot of my clothing is really old, so I'm not going to put links to these things because you won't be able to buy them anymore. They're really old. Generally, if it's wet, it's usually a little bit warmer as well. So instead of having that puffer jacket on, I've then just got a waterproof jacket over the top. I have a cycling specific one, which just means it's slightly longer at the back. I don't have it here right now. It's a generic brand off Amazon or something. I go through jackets quite quickly because I fall off bikes and things and they get ripped and torn, so I don't buy anything too crazy expensive. I think it was 30 quid. Maybe I'll link that down below. And then just waterproof trousers. Again, don't spend loads of money on waterproof trousers because they get wrecked on your bike. Mine got chewed up in the chainring on day 1 of using the latest pair I have, or day 2. And then that's me warm and dry. Now, if you follow my channel for a while, you might know that I'm supported by Chrome. They send me some stuff all the time to kind of like check out and ride, and I'm very, very grateful for that. One of the latest things they helped me out with was something for my feeties. They sent me the new Storm boots, which are crazy comfortable, pretty warm, but they are nearly completely waterproof, or at least up to like the mid of the ankle at least. I ain't going any puddles deeper than that, so we're all good. But I've been wearing these like pretty much non-stop since I got them last month or the month before, and they've been absolutely amazing in this cold weather we just had, especially with the wet as well. I've been layering up the socks just to kind of keep them nice and cushy inside, and my feet have been dry and warm all day. So big shout out to Chrome for sending me these out. The rest of the year I pretty much wear whatever really. Trainers, I quite like high tops just because they're quite supportive on the ankle if you're riding all day. But yes, saying this all out loud now, I am realising that you probably all think I'm mental and you probably have better ideas of what I should be wearing on my body. But this works for me. People ask me what I do to keep myself dry and warm. This is what I do. It's simple as that. But if you've got any better ideas, I am willing to listen to them. So this is the right time to start putting stuff in the comments below. Let us know what you would use, and feel free to let me know if I'm mental or if you think everything I just said does make sense. Now onto my favourite part of the conversation, the bike, and how to prepare it and have the best chance of riding it successfully in all kind of conditions. Sounds very dramatic, but it's actually really simple. For me, there's 4 things to take into account when it comes to riding your bike in the winter. The first one is tyres, and tyres are going to be another one of these things where it depends on where you are and what kind of riding you're doing, but the key elements here are puncture resistant and the right kind of traction. Now, it's not the fact that you get more punches when it's cold or something and you need better tyres. That's not the point. The point is, nobody wants to be stopping on the way home from work or whilst they're out on their bike in the cold to change a tyre or inner tube or fix a puncture. That is rubbish. And anybody who's ever tried changing a tyre when the tyre is cold as well, you don't want to do any of those things. So if you've got a very tyre resistant or puncture resistant tyre, you're winning already. And then the second thing is traction. Generally, mountain bike tyres of some sort is going to be the best way to go. If you're going cross-country tyres, then they're going to be the bbest or closest thing that you can ride on the road and stuff like that. But if you are someone like me who lives in a city, you might want to go a little bit less traction-y and more commuter. Now, funnily, one of my favourite tyres to ride in the winter is Billy Bonkers, which anybody who's ridden Billy Bonkers, they're not very punch resistant, so it kind of counteracts what I've just said. But I really like the way they feel, and they have loads of grip, but they're also quite fast rolling. Another one on the back of that is Gravel Kings. I really like Gravel Kings as well because they are another one that is very fast rolling, great traction, really lots of grip for slippery roads, and they're a little bit better when it comes to punch resistance. But if you're someone who's got fancy tubeless rims, you can set those up tubeless, which would be even better. So that's kind of my golden tyre for the winter, would be a Gravel King, because it's got loads of traction and you can set up tubeless, which is going to help you for punches and things like that. So tiresome traction. The next one's a funny one for me because it's fenders. Again, anybody who watches my videos knows that I don't really like fenders, but I'm not going to stand here and say you don't need fenders in the winter. You need fenders. Like, one of the most important things about keeping warm is keeping dry. So you fenders, they're amazing. But if you are someone like me who's not a massive fan of fenders, then maybe you could also look at something like air savers or something to protect you a little bit. But the reason fenders, in my opinion, are really good for the winter is they also keep your bike clean and help for maintenance, basically. And then the third most important thing when it comes to your bike is going to be maintenance, but most importantly, lubricants. Now, there's loads of things you could do on your bike to make sure it's maintained correctly. You don't want it failing for you during the winter and when it's cold, similar to the puncture thing I was talking about. But we'll go to that into more detail in another video. I want to do some more maintenance stuff. But one of the main things you want to do is keep your chain nice and smooth. So using some sort of lubricants. You may know this already, but I'm supported by Juice Lubes on this channel, and they have a bunch of different lubricants you can use on your chain, but they have the three main ones that you can use is wet, dry, and all conditions. For anybody wondering, the main difference between the dry and the wet, apart from the fact that you want to use one in dry conditions and one in wet conditions, the reason being dry lube penetrates deep into the chain, but it also washes off really easily. So if it is lots of rain and stuff, it's just going to wash off and it's not going to stay on. Where it's designed mainly the fact that because it penetrates quite deeply, you don't get loads of dust and dry stuff stuck to it. Where the wet lube, it's a little bit thicker, so it will sit on the whole chain more, and that means that stuff does get stuck to it, but it does also mean that it doesn't get washed off as well. So double-edged sword in a way. You're gonna have to keep an eye on it, but also is gonna stay there, basically. All weather is somewhere in the middle. I find that I use all weather quite often because I live in the UK and it rains quite often, and I'm lazy to kind of keep putting lube on. So I find that all weather is a good one for all weather because it does kind of it's more like the wet lubes, so it is a bit stickier, but it's not too sticky that the chain's just absolutely covered in stuff all the time. So that's your three lubes to choose between. If you need to restock on lubes and maintenance stuff, there is a discount code down below and a link to take you straight to the Juice Lubes website as well, so do go check that out. Now, the last thing to talk about, and this is kind of a bit of a both when it comes to bike and you, but it is visibility and lights. Now, I'll go into details on different brands and different things you can use, but what I would say is, depending on where you're riding, depends on the kind of lights you want to use. Obviously, you want one on the front and one on the back, but whether you need a super bright, high-powered front light, only if you're living in the countryside and you're riding through the forest and stuff. If you're riding in London, you're better off something that is flashes or something, so it's a little bit more visible, because there's lots of street lights. The city's bright, for example, so you don't really need to be able to see. It's more that you need to be seen. On the back of that, one of the things that I always kind of suggest is wearing something that is also going to help with visibility. And you might not want to put like a high-vis jacket on and stuff. Kind of lame, I get that. What you could do is get something like this. This is the Hip Lock Super Bright. It's a chain lock that you can wear, like you can see in this footage here. It also goes around your waist, but it is also super reflective that you can't quite make out on this camera, can you? I wonder if I can... Look at that! Look at that! That worked out. Hang on. That's crazy bright, isn't it? Look at that. People are going to see you if you're wearing that, aren't they? If you think that's cool, there is actually a discount code for Hiplock down in the description as well, and you can go pick up one of those as well to be seen. And I think that kind of wraps up everything that I kind of wanted to say, and kind of bringing us to the end of the very first video of 2025. Had to think about that then, I kind of forgot what year it was. But I hope that gives you some ideas on how to improve or potentially encourage you to get out in the winter and ride bikes. I think riding in the winter is super fun, especially if you get snow. But just last couple of bits is like, think about the route. I sometimes, if it is super icy, I take quieter routes, just so if I did slip and fall, there's not a massive line of traffic ready to squish me or something. So think about, you know, which way you're going and kind of, you know, take it easy, slow and steady on the ice. You don't want to stack it on the concrete, especially in the cold. It's rubbish. But most of all, get outside, enjoy the weather, enjoy cycling and ride bikes. Now I've got video ideas and projects that I'm halfway through doing coming at my ears at the moment. I've got so much going on. So we will be getting back to that 2 videos a week situation. So be ready for that. And I have so many builds that I need to do at the moment that I almost can't decide which one to start first. So it's a problem that I'm going to have to bear. But yes, lots of builds coming, which is probably going to be the big part of this year, I'd say. A shout out to everybody who bought stickers over the Christmas period as well. I did take a couple of weeks off, so the orders are stacked up until it was the most I've ever had in one go, and it took me a very long time to get through them. But at this point, I've shipped everything, and most of you have already received them, so that's awesome. If you're keen on picking up some stickers, there is still a bunch left over on the website. I've got some restock stuff coming soon as well, so if the thing you were looking for or waiting for is out of stock at the moment, hopefully I'll have them back soon. But as always, head over to spray.bike.com and you can pick up some of those. It helps me a bunch, and I'm very grateful for it, so thank you. But let's leave it there. If you are new to the channel from this video, thank you so much for staying around this long. This is quite a yabbery video of mine. Usually we do some more precise things around building and projects and stuff, but I hope you enjoyed this one. If you did enjoy it, do feel free to comment below and like the video, and most importantly, subscribe. It helps me out a bunch, and I release videos every single week. And if you cannot wait for the next one, that one there is a particularly good one.